I don't know why. So, it's at 8 o'clock. Every time to get. Oh, 1 minute. So, some stragglers come in. Okay. Oh. Okay, so we'll get started. So we have so tonight is a just kind of a get together at the Vista K. Encourage you to grab some dinner and locally, whatever, you know, and then come over and it's an open bar. I always find that attracts people, you know. No problem. So yeah, we sit by the pool, talk, have a good time. If you guys have guests or anything, you know, that you go with, family, spouse, whatever, bring them. No problem. We'll figure it out when we get there. That's not a problem. And bring your car. Is how we know. This is how you get your free drinks. So, I mean, we'll figure out a way if you forget it, but, you know, just let us know. But at the bar, you'll see that, and you're good. Okay. And then I will tell you, too, just sort of timing, and Jen didn't quite mention, for Topgolf, it's kind of like heavy hors d'oeuvres, because it starts at 6:30. By the time you get over there and all, you won't have time to get dinner, really, and you don't want to kind of show up. It's a lot of fun, but the hors d'oeuvres are good. Yeah, they're pretty substantial, so you can, you know, you don't have to really grab dinner, and it's fun. Okay. So today, I'd just like to talk to you. Well, it's pretty obvious, right? You know, I'm Ted Knaak, president of TopoDOT, just for anybody coming in second day here. Don't know who this guy is up here. And I just like to talk to you about where we're going, what's happening, big picture stuff, you know, because you get your head down, you're looking for how do I get curb lines out, how do I get this, but sometimes it's nice to step back and see, okay, why is all this happening? How do we decide what we're going to do, where we're going to go, what we develop for TopoDOT, what we don't, what we say, man, that's not what we do, you know, pass it on to another program, something like that. So let's do that. And then before that, I was going to give some big picture things. So when I say big picture, I just want to, Jennifer introduced you to the team before. She changed our organizational chart. You know, we're kind of like, I don't know, you know, so it's like, oh, okay, that's not quite how I had it set up, but it's okay. You know, getting a little bigger, but you want to, what I want to do is just kind of explain why we're set up this way and what it means to you. So that it's not just about, you know, seeing everybody here at TopoDOT, but you guys know, well, Maddie, David, and Ryan, they're doing software development, so they're doing the new tools and they're building things, and a lot of times you'll get to them if they're really, you know, you got requirements for something that has to be implemented, you know, okay. And then we have an application development team of Mike and John Paul, and what is application development? And those are the guys I'd like you to really, you know, think about and how that works. Their job is to say, you've got a process or something, you've got a big assignment. I'm going to use the one, is Texas bridges. You know, they had to think, okay, bridge clearance. They just give you, it's not hard until there's 12 measurements they want, all kinds of directions. You know, not just clearance vertically. It's you know, you had to extract. I think you had to extract the side stripes, and you had to see what the distance is to the nearest column, and you know, there's all kinds of cross sections you had to make, and you're looking at thousands of bridges. You want to do it efficiently. So, and that's where Mike and John Paul came in. Mike worked with the companies doing that, Sam, Bordeaux, and a couple others, and they just went through the process and put something efficient together. Here's what you can automate. Here's the tools you can use. Here's what you're going to have to cut across section and kind of old-fashioned figure out, you know, where that is. Here's the best way to present it. Here's how you're going to get your report out. Here's how you're going to, like, plan views or your 2D views out and your cross sections and whatever that deliverable has to be. That's the conversations you have with Mike and John Paul, and they basically work through that process with you, and they interface back to the development team if they need to tweak something. They need a format, even just okay, you need to export these in a CSV file, whatever it happens to be, and that works really well. And then it gets documented. And then you have a process, and then you can do a lot of work. So that's really key. And then of course Jennifer's in business development and team there, and of course Paige, Zach, Andrea, program if you live in Australia, and Gong Dong if you're in China. Anyway, Zach and Giddy are here, and Felipe, of course, and they'll help you with anything you need. So please. Every time I talk to one of you guys and meet you I meet you in the party or whatever, and last night somebody said, how do I get advanced training for TopoDOT? I said, you just call us. It doesn't have to stop today. You don't have to wait another year. And then we'd love to see you tough next year, but we'll set up more training for you. It's not a problem. You send us some data. I didn't get to, I'm a beginner. I don't quite understand the templates. I got there, but it's not working for me. Call. We'll set up the day, 1-2 hours, as long as it takes for you to get to understand how it works, what goes, and be efficient with it. So, and sometimes it's just a feel for how the tool works, and you kind of see, you kind of get used to it. And once you do, you understand you understand how to apply it, and then you do some crazy things. It's just the template tool is really cool. You just make any shape you want, and it goes and finds it. You got cross sections. You can do all kinds of cool things. So. Yeah, and I keep saying that because that makes everybody faster. I was told me if you should be doing, we also have Randy Allen is always our guy who sets the standard, the gold standard. So he said about 300 feet of curb line should take you about 30 seconds. It's not doing that. If it takes you a minute, okay, it's still good. But it should be fast, and so kind of shoot for it all the time. That's about it. I'm up there and I'm down there too, and Marcel and I are trying to do some messaging and things like that. Always willing to talk to you guys to find out what's happening from your perspective, and that helps us to say, okay, how do we help? How do we get messages out to you that make sense, that that really talk to you and stuff like that. So we're always available. Please give us a call. We'd like to talk to you at any time, and that's pretty much it. Okay. And then just to let you know, you guys are part of a worldwide community. There's 160 of us here. There's 4,000 or so floating out around the world. So we don't 6,000. What's that? 6,000. Okay. Didn't pay attention. Okay. And so so there's like 6,000 users out there. So you guys are fortunate enough to be close enough to get here. I don't know if we talk about having things in other countries and all that, but that's a bit of an undertaking, so we'll see. But it's really happening around the world, and the cool thing is that you guys started it all here, and guys have been with us for years. It was putting these processes in place. I travel around the world, and I tell you, and I mentioned it before, I think yesterday, we're ahead of the world in what we do here. That you guys get your deliverables out, everybody else is still trying to figure out what the process is. Apparently they've gotten cut off my head. Everybody's trying to figure out what the process is, how to get from the DOT to get a mobile LiDAR to get, get a project and get a deliverable out. We got that. DOTs now, if you're in Florida, he says, you guys have mobile LiDAR on your team, just see what I want. And it comes out the other side. That's took years for us to do collectively. From our side, from your side, and because I know we can develop the tools, but you guys have to implement them, and we appreciate that. So, so you're part of something really big, and we're trying to get around the world to make that spread that around. And I want to thank our sponsors too. Once again, I don't know if anybody's in the audience right now, but. They really make talk. First of all, I'm a little financial support, but also they make it interesting to come here. I think our panel session went well yesterday. I think that was pretty pretty interesting. And it went better than I thought it would, so I didn't know. It's the first one. So, but they also, tomorrow you're going to see, tomorrow, you're going to see the systems, and they're going to talk, at least they're here to talk to you about, we'll show you how they've implemented their systems, if they're a service provider, or what their systems are, if they're a system provider, Trimble, Vigo, and of course, Leica, yeah. And we'll show you the latest in technology. When you talk to them, ask them what the differences are, what's going to meet my needs the best, what platforms I'm using. So, that's really worthwhile. And it makes it good. So thank you. So, once again, I want to say thank you to them, to everybody. And so, it is, last year was a little tough, so I want to thank everybody that gave me a little support when I was away last year. So I took a 8-month sabbatical, had a little things going on, so it was nice to hear from you guys. And a few guys checked in, and it was really, really, really nice. So, and of course, the team for covering for me and keep things running. So, okay, so where are we going from here? Well, we see a bright future in assets. It's kind of interesting. So I kind of think in the big process. That's why I can't work all the TopoDOT tools now. So it's just getting, I kind of forget where some buttons are. But I kind of like thinking of the big picture stuff. What's going on, and we have a bright future in assets. I mean, I think with the new tools and the new developments, when we develop a new area, we know that. We look at the point cloud and say, what's in there? What do we got to get out? And then the other question I always ask is there really a cheaper way to do it? Is this something that you're going to make money in doing? So you don't want to. Let's kind of look at it that way. How do we make you successful? Which then is how do you do something profitable? We don't want to develop tools where you chase things that are just simpler ways to do it, and you're never going to. Kind of be successful there. That's not great for any of us. But we really think assets are there, and the assets, we've developed that asset extraction, and it's just getting better and better and better. And now we've actually incorporated some AI, and so if you guys have taken the asset classes, you kind of see how we go through and we kind of serve it up, and we let you know. We develop processes where you can get that 100%. As close to 100%, 100%. What's the right word? Quality. 100%. What's the word?
More effective.
Yeah, more effective. In other words, you can't miss. It's like, you get all the signs. You don't miss any. You don't get all the assets. You do them correctly. You don't miss any because we always give you that way of just. We basically say you make the final decision about what we presented to you. We serve up all the data. We serve up where the asset is, where we think it is, what we think it is. And with the AI we're putting in, we're doing things automatically, but we're like letting you make the final decision. Did we make the right choice? So there shouldn't be anything kind of wrong. You shouldn't miss things. It's not a black box. We don't believe in that because we know the world gets complicated. Reality models aren't reality. You can't model reality. So you have to kind of take a look and make your decisions. And some things get very complex. So everybody thinks signs are easy until you got five interstate signs on the same pole, and there's a mailbox next to it or whatever. You got to take a look and figure things out. But the ML has and the thing about, and what we talked about before, and we talked about that process yesterday, and mobile LiDAR data, MLS system data, is very rich in information. So the other advantage we think you'll have, we know you can get Trimble has a nice system, I'm just popped into my head, but and they all do, I guess, for camera, just putting a camera on there and getting assets, and then there's some inexpensive scanners going around, and there's other companies that are doing the entire state, all the assets, right? And they have a scanner on it right now. And so the question is, how do you fit in? Well, your data is much more valuable. You can do more things with it. You can, and that's where you'll be more accurate, collecting data now is just the raw collection is not really, but that doesn't add much more expense, even though you have a lot more data. Point clouds are bigger than just a bunch of images, but you get more accuracy. You're going to find that, you know, there's obviously more you can extract. Sure, you can get the assets, but you can support construction, you can go to DOTs and say, I want to measure, I want to do more measurements, I want to do more things. And you have a process to take that data and pull it down to like a level 1 survey if you add control. So if you're using a modern mobile LiDAR system or something like that. So that's the other thing. And that's actually your advantage over some of these systems that are actually, I'll say like cyclomedia or something like that. And again, you're nothing against those guys. If the data was great, we extract from it. So it's a win, you know, we would hope it would be a good. But when we see it, when they kind of drive around, they're just trajectories are floating around, and none of the roads line up when they go again. So when they make multiple passes, they're just getting the signs out, and then they don't care how high it is, and they don't care if it's off a foot or so, which is fine. But when you're trying to use that data downstream and it doesn't match up, you can't use it for engineering or anything like that. You can't use it for other applications. And then basically, there's no path to line it up. There's no processing path for them to make that data and bring it down to survey control or anything like that. That's going to be your advantage. That's going to be places where you can, you know, say, no, we can do that. We can make this data better. So we really think that that's it. And that's where our topo share comes at the end too, because you need a way to process that. You know, you need a way to share that. So we'll look at that later. We also think we have some real advantages over dedicated pavement systems. So when I say pavement systems, you know, we've spent a lot of time on. Has anybody used our tools for road pavement assessment? Anybody? Randy has. Young lady has? Cool. And so only 2. So let you know, anything in the point cloud, it's very automated. You can extract a surface model that will actually, what I call a hybrid. You can cross sections, plus we can take you through a process that will find the potholes, will find the ruts, and just sample them very accurate, you know, in like inch by inch grid, just where the rut is. And then where there's nothing happening, you just get cross section. So you get this hybrid topography that you can run a water model, you know, basically a drainage model, and it'll puddle in exactly where it is. And it's very easy to do, by the way. The extraction is very automated. So you can make a D10 that nobody else can do. And there's a lot of business opportunities that way. PennDOT is just talking to us about some issues because they had some accidents. Road wasn't built right, hydroplaning, things like that. We've gone after those little niches with our tools and said, okay, yeah, no, we can tell you exactly what's happening in a road. There were times when they didn't always want to know, but you can find it if you have to. So basically, if you don't get to those classes here, just know they exist. You know, as far as you can do this, and once again, give us a call. It opens up a lot of opportunities for you. And once again, the MLS data, and the thing about MLS data is there's numerous applications, and these are the advantages. I actually just repeated these advantages up there. And the real key to your data that other datas don't have, because they're very focused on what they're doing. Again, I'm talking about the assets. And then again, in this case, you have systems out there like Pavmetrics and things like that have been doing it for years. I want to go head to head, you know, really. You're talking to your owners, your managers, your supervisors, you know, your business development guys, and say, you know, yeah, we can do this, and we can pull everything out of the point cloud. We have a way. We'll tell you how we do cracks. You've got to look at the image if you have a downward-looking camera, and you can actually include that in. So you can kind of do anything that they do. Would I go after the 10,000 miles in a state or 5,000 miles? Nah, that's kind of like, they just have a process they go through. But what we're seeing is that a lot of municipalities, a lot of smaller townships, a lot of cities, things, they don't have these federal requirements where they have to do the entire state and see how well they're taking care of the roads. They just want to know maintenance on the road. And they just want to know where the potholes are and how much it'll take to fill them. And a lot of these jobs are maybe 100 miles. So it's not really attractive to some of these big companies that are doing, thousands. They don't care so much. But it'd be a very nice job for you guys, to basically go in and say, okay, yeah, we'll do a 200-mile job. We'll do all your neighborhoods. We'll tell you, what roads are the worst. We'll prioritize it. We'll give you reports. It all spits out of TopoDOT very, very nicely, very elegantly. And we'll tell you how much material you'll need to fill these, where the deepest ones, where you got to focus your resources in the coming year. And that's a whole market for smaller projects and things like that. That's a whole market that's opening up to us, I think, to the mobile LiDAR. So I think that's something you can look. And once again, TopoShare opens the opportunity. So I keep hitting TopoShare. Yeah, it's our new product. We'd love to, kind of share it with you, sell it to you. But the bottom line is, it's just about making it efficient to share this information. And that's we'll talk a little bit more about that. Power distribution. We spent a lot of time on this. I want to take Maldy's thunder because I like this. Mauricio's going to come up and talk about what's new in TopoDOT. So after I'm done here, but I love this video so much, I want to play it first. So bottom line is, though, power distribution. We can do transmission lines, things that people probably aren't. Basically that's kind of helicopter and now UAV oriented. Our extraction is very efficient there. But that's been done a long time by TerraSolid and some other some other things. They have a workflow. They've been doing it for 20, 30 years. So sometimes I've told people, look, you got TerraSolid. We'll do it 10, 20% faster, but I wouldn't change. It's I wouldn't mess with it. However, distribution lines are another beast. They're much more complicated. There's a lot of work there. They have to be taken with mobile data. Really, you got to take it from the ground, look up. And you got to get all this information, and we're killing it there. And okay, somewhere along. I better do that from the screen. I think that's going to work. So there. Okay. So there you see, basically all you got to do is extract, and when we extract this that quickly. And these videos are all available, so please take pictures. But if you want better stuff, we can give you the video itself. It took a while to do this, and a lot of people just kind of one-to-one, beginning and end, whatever, clicking across. This was. Proud to say I handled this algorithm. It was like one of the last times I got my hands dirty doing this stuff, but Maldy made it better, but okay. But anyway, I did the math from the beginning. I'm sorry. But anyway, so we do all kinds of stuff, and there's basically attachment points. And I know the last thing I saw Maldy working on was, okay, these guys need attachment points to within an inch and all. So he's just, I don't know what the process is now to really, if you got them really tight. He automated it to the point where you can, do your best and make your fine adjustments, and those attachment points will all spit out everything in there. All the attachment points will spit out in CSV files, with your pole, your locations, everything will be there. This is a lot. If you've got mobile LiDAR, a lot of you guys are getting. I hear people saying, "Hey, I just had breakfast with a gentleman that said they're coming home and." Yeah, they're coming back, and their MX-9 is waiting for them, and they're just going to get their first data. So so this is all opportunities. And again, the strategic advantages are the same. It's not that. Yeah, you can. First of all, you can do this with mobile LiDAR, and you have great tools to do it with now. But if you go down and scan the entire road, that data is applicable to so many other things. And this is where we developed TopoShare, because it's still, even though you think it is, it's applicable. How it gets used and how you can market it and sell it to within a DOT or within a government, to companies, it gets difficult. And I'll tell you why. But I got ahead of myself. So digital twins, and we were talking about that yesterday. So you guys are ready for that stuff now. And don't make it harder than it is. Try not to listen too much to all the big words they use on these fancy words they use when they talk about digital twins and all. Like I said, we just say, we've been doing this for years. You know, it's don't worry about it. What we have to do is demand, we have to give you what you need when you need it, because a digital twin is a model, and a model is only applicable in the context with which you develop it for the purpose you develop it for. And once you go outside that model's not that useful, and it can be actually, you know, give you wrong answers, or it's just not useful. So the bottom line is there's always requirements coming in, and if you need a quality control process, you have to have requirements, and you have to then have a process that fills those requirements. So that's why we did the on-demand, you know, how basically you can communicate with the outside world as a geospatial specialist and in charge of all this data, and they can give you the requirements. That's what TopoShare is doing, and you can fulfill those requirements. And then that way you say, that's your iTwin, and we'll keep developing it. And if we need help with a process or sensors in there or something like that, yeah, we'll work with some team, and we'll give you the 3D structure of it all, and tell us what sensors go where and where you need that data and why, and, you know, we'll figure it out for you, you know, where we'll work with them to figure it out. But you guys are going to be in the middle of all that structure because they need a 3D model. It's all going to be 3D spatially correct, you know, where do you find this geographically? So you're going to be in the middle of all this all the time. So, so yeah, this is what we did yesterday, and for those, anybody who wasn't there, this is the big process, but I just kind of want to point it out again. So you ask for digital twin support, you just say yes. And we're here to talk to you, and we can kind of like set up presentations and, you know, kind of go through the process to a customer and say, like, this is why we think is the best thing to do. And remember, again, it's optimizing costs, because modeling is expensive. If you scan, I did a calculation, I had a slide, I didn't put it up there, but it's pretty straightforward. If you kind of scan with mobile LiDAR and get a point cloud on a bridge, I estimated it cost you like $25. I don't know, a couple 100 feet, you go through it this fast, this is how much you're spending per mile, $6,000 a mile, collect the data, whatever. And so that bridge costs you maybe $25 to get that data. That's not expensive. Once you guys sit down there for 4 hours and model the bridge and extract everything, you put 4 hours into it, there's another $200 there that went into the model that's sitting in your computer because it's a model of a bridge. Now the bridge that's in there, the model is worth $225. Well, you can't do the entire corridor this way. You'll be modeling forever. So you got to talk to your customer and say, we want to optimize this process. We want to get you what you need, where you need, when you need it, and prioritize. And some things we just want to leave data, you know, or we just need edge of pavement, the original deliverable, you know, whatever it happened to be. But you don't want us modeling everything. You think you do until we tell you, give you a bill. Or we tell you the schedule is going to be delayed by 2 months now because you want everything modeled so your engineers can look at everything. That doesn't work. So the other thing, so you see this is the process, whatever it is, and this is in the design data warehouse, but basically you just call and see, this isn't that complicated. You're just going to call you're going to email to the guy, the geospatial, they're going to email. All these guys will be able to get to you if they have TopoShare, and they'll be able to see everything you have, where all the data is, and they have a click and a direct email to you, or to whoever the geospatial administrator is, and he gets a call and he says, okay, I need this, this, and this from the data. The other thing why this is important, and I was just thinking of it this morning, so I have no slides, but let me just share, because you guys may be not thinking about this, but sales and marketing, but sales in everyone's jobs is not inexpensive. So if I have all this data and I'm trying to move it, I'm trying to like basically go to a DOT and say, go to the safety guys and say, look at everything we have. You can get everything you want. Well, if you're just dealing with hard drives and they don't know who you are and where you are, maybe somebody does call you, right? And they find you and they don't have any access to your data. They don't really know how to communicate with you. They don't know where to find the right guy. They have to go through your sales guy that made the presentation, and in the end, maybe he wants a clearance on a bridge, or can you give us the guardrail heights over this half mile? That isn't exciting anyone. It's really just a distraction from everything else you're doing. And nobody's making money on getting the guardrails out for a half mile, you know? So it's like, even though it's in the data, that's not exciting. But when you have TopoShare, and the bottom line is, if you say, if those salesmen go into the safety and say, here's a URL, just go in there, tell us what you need. And it bypasses everybody, goes directly to the geospatial administrator and says, okay, from here to here, I need all my guardrail heights. And they go, okay, well, yeah, I can do that in an hour or so. And you give them a price for, $600 is cheap, right? Because nobody had to go in the field or measure it, and it didn't take 3 days, and, I did it, and somebody did it in an hour, and they got it back in a day or so. That's the $600. That's useful. That you've bypassed all those barriers of communication. You've gone right to the source and said, because all they had to drop off was a URL and said, here's all the data we have. Our customers are part, DRMP, that's up in North Orlando. They've got 300 projects on TopoShare, and every time they go to, and they give you ability to group them. So when they go to District 5, which is Orlando here, and they say, any engineer that gets a project, he gets basically that URL, and he sees everything that DRMP has, no matter what it is. It's traditional survey too, doesn't matter. You can put your lines, your dots, your CSV file, whatever, so you have traditional survey too. And they see everything they've done. So now that engineer can, or the manager, the engineer, whoever it is, the surveyor and the DOT can just look and go, oh, you got this data here, you got data here, let me see this, oh, you got this line work, okay, good. And then he clicks and emails to the right guy, and now all of a sudden, this extracting smaller stuff isn't a big deal, and then it becomes bigger things. You never know. Or maybe the data doesn't cover that. You have to acquire more data. They're going to talk to you first. They'll say, okay, I'm going to have to get, I don't have enough data down that intersection. We'll have to go get it for you. Okay. So those are the kind of things. We're trying to make this data come alive and get you more value out of it and get the process going. 2 minutes, cool. So that's why we went over that yesterday. That's what we're talking. You guys are in the data warehouse here. It's not working. But you guys have your data warehouse. You're in charge of all this stuff. And the TopoShare is kind of how to communicate. So that's why you've heard it here. Focus on your extraction. That's what everybody wants to get, and the deliverables go out. But just know in the back of your mind, these things are available. And TopoShare is really inexpensive. So this works. That's it. For you Matrix fans, you may know, it's dedicated to making you guys a reality of success. So, you know how to find us. If you have any questions, let us know. You can talk to your business development guys and say, hey, you should call those guys, there's some opportunities here, and we can talk to them about how to implement that, how to do that, and we'll do little pilot projects with you. It's very simple, with regard to TopoShare or anything else you're doing. We were always, if you need a business development, some of our successful customers will call us sometimes and ask for our support on that, and how you're going to get this stuff out, and we don't mind doing it at all. Okay, so I'm glad you guys are having a good time. I'm finished, and now we're waiting for Mauricio Mounty is going to come up and show you what's new, where the real work is done. Now I'm just a pretty face. So thank you guys.